Hi everyone. I just wanted to quickly share something that the Lord has recently shown me. A couple of weeks ago, whilst praising God, I saw Jesus using the world as his footstool. He was reclining and very casually sprinkling down on the earth what looked like fine gold dust. More recently, whilst tuning into a live stream church service online, again, whilst praising and worshipping, I saw the same picture, only this time, in Jesus' other hand, he held a bowl. As I watched him once again sprinkling the fine gold dust, he also said, "This is what you can have." And he began to tip the bowl from which flowed thick liquid gold. It stuck to and covered the earth perfectly, evenly, and completely. I asked, "Lord, how do we get this?" And he simply said, "Just keep doing more of what you are doing right now." It is, I believe, a quick and straightforward analogy of what is currently happening in the earth. I have been excited lately to see God is touching lives, especially with our youth being more open to the gospel, and I feel this is represented in the sprinkling of the gold dust. I don't know about you, but I want to see the day soon that the bowl tips over and the whole earth is completely covered by that rich, thick liquid gold, which I believe represents the glory of God, where the signs, wonders and miracles happen. There's been a lot of talk, prayer, and I personally feel striving for revival. Perhaps we, and I certainly, have misunderstood and underestimated the power of praise and worship. And after all, the Bible is full of reasons why we should do so. Psalm 22 tells us, God inhabits the praises of his people. And Paul and Silas weren't asking to be freed from prison when they were just simply singing hymns to God when the prison doors flew open and their chains came loose. Wow. That's basically the end of the message the Lord gave me to share. But I'd also like in the back of this to share a testimony which I feel ties in with this vision. Many of you will know and have heard of Christ for All Nations and the mission work that they do in Africa. Well, the other day I tuned into their programme just in time to hear the testimony of a young girl who had been left completely deaf after she got too close to an exploding landmine. Her parents took her to a witch doctor, which is often the first port of call in their culture, but not only did her hearing fail to improve, but she then began to hear voices constantly in her head. She was then given medication by her doctor to silence the voices. She took the drugs but also continued to visit the witch doctor for around 8 years, and when the torment continued, her parents decided then that perhaps it was time for them to try going to church. That is when they attended the gathering organised by Christ for All Nations. The girl relayed that as soon as the worship began, she realised she could hear the drums. And then she realised she could hear people talking all around her. She also knew in that moment that the voices were no longer in her head. She knew she had been completely healed and delivered from the demons that had long been tormenting her. No one had preached, prayed, or laid hands on her at this point. This all happened within the first few moments of praise and worship. And we're not talking about a big, polished band performance here. This was a few local people playing the drums and singing and dancing earnestly for the Lord. People who needed and were expectant for miracles to happen. Isn't that amazing? Doesn't that stir you up to praise, worship and love Jesus like never before? Psalm 72:19. Praise be to his glorious name forever. May the whole earth be filled with his glory. Amen and amen. Thank you for listening. God bless.